Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So this is part two on the topic of how to get out of a funk. If you haven't watched part one, please go back and watch it. Some of the things that I'll talk about in part two build on or build off of part one. However, if you want to just start here, that's fine as well. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about of how to get out of the funk is to identify if there are areas in your life or if there are people in your life that are draining the energy that you do have. We know during the funk that there is limited energy, so that resource is limited. And sometimes if you're not good at setting boundaries, you can still be trying to give out and overextend yourself when you have low energy to complete the things that you actually need to do. So identify if there are people or things in your life that are draining you. And I know that there are sometimes we can't get everything off of our plate because sometimes there are responsibilities that we have to do. But if there are additional tasks that you can say no to, or taking a day off in whatever sense that works for you. I know some people have jobs where you can't take a day off, but just creating, if you can, some intentional time to reserve your energy. If there are some people that are making you feel worse every time that you're around them, or you're just having to overextend yourself in any of your resources, but definitely your energy resource, it may be a time to pull back, or it may be a time to just communicate with your support system of like, hey, I'm really in a funk right now. I know I was supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Can we do it another time, or can we reschedule? All right. So the next thing is sometimes we're motivated by the positive outcomes, but then sometimes we're motivated by the consequences. So it's also a good time to write down the pros and cons. What are the pros of me staying in this place? What are the cons? And then specifically looking at, if I continue in this space, what are some consequences? Because some of us are motivated by consequences versus solely by the positive outcomes. So for example, if say you've been in a funk and you haven't been meal prepping, but you've been going to the gym, the consequences of that is that you'll be overworking at the gym, but you can't outwork a bad diet. So you'll be kind of going against your overall goal of weight loss, or your overall goal or of weight gain, or your overall goal of maintaining, if you don't have your nutrition on point. Right? So you'll end up, spending now. That can impact your financial status. So just take time to recognize the consequences of being in the funk. What will it cost you to stay? Are you willing to pay the price that it will cost you to stay in the funk? So the last thing I'll talk about here is you have to identify if it's more than just the funk, right? So you have to be able to identify, no, this is not a funk. I feel like maybe this is something deeper. I feel like, I'm losing my appetite. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm losing interest in the things that I once found interest in. I'm feeling sad most of the time. I'm feeling irritable most of the time. Like, you have to really get in tune with yourself to say, is this a good time for me to go see a therapist? Is this a good time for me to go see a professional counselor or a licensed counselor? Because I feel like this is more than just a funk. Another thing that may be helpful in determining this is the severity, like how severe your funks are, and the duration, how long do they last. If this is like a continuous thing that you're being faced with, it may be a good time to go visit your nurse practitioner, your doctor, your general physician, a counselor. Like, don't be afraid to let others know that, hey, I need maybe some additional resources or some coping skills, or I do have this big life event, I'm grieving, or I'm going through major transitions that I feel like I'm not adjusting well, or something's not right. okay? So sometimes it's just the funk, but then sometimes it's more than just the funk. So you really have to pay attention to your funk and what you notice in your funk. And I know it can be hard to think about and notice things in your funk, but you can look at it like you're just being observant. You're not judging yourself during this process. You're just saying, I realized that about 2 weeks out the month, or 2 weeks out the month, I'm in low mood. I stop getting things done. I feel sad. I cry a lot. Just noticing some things about yourself without saying, I shouldn't be crying. I shouldn't be sad. More so from an exploratory lens. Like, I noticed this. Let me take these findings to a professional or someone who can look at them to say, this looks like this, or this meets the criteria for this. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful. I try to keep these videos short and to the point, but please go back and watch part 1. I hope you enjoyed part 2. See y'all later. Bye.